And another person who's real, who we love talking to, is George Mienie. And he is here. He is live. He is in his studio at home, which is looking fresher than ever. How's it, George?
Hey Gareth, I was enjoying the conversation with Jack Parrow so much that I said to him, "Oh, sure, but I've got to click on the joint studio link."
I was looking at the time and thinking, what is George gonna ignore us today? Is he busy? I wasn't sure if you were gonna join us. So I just kept talking.
I was watching, thinking I'm in the studio, but I'm actually not. You have to click on your link, but I'm here. I actually saw Jack Parrow in the Guns N' Roses. I think he opened for the Guns N' Roses concert in South Africa a couple of years ago.
Wow. Amazing. He's such a good guy. And what a performer, hey. That energy is just next level. He's fantastic at it.
So, I don't mean to bring the mood down, but I suppose it's a little bit of a positive. I don't know if you've read that the government is proposing a price cap for 93 petrol or 93 octane petrol.
No, I'm really glad you brought this up because you're the only person who'll be able to explain it to us. So what does this actually mean for the consumer? What does it mean for you? What does it mean for me? If we have a car that we prefer to put 93 into, what does it mean?
So the cap. So first, let me tell you that the government sat on this thing for about 3 or 4 weeks because the actual letter from the minister was dated in the end of June-ish, and it's only gone into the Gazette now in the last couple of days. So they sat on it for about a month, which is, why? Don't know. Why can't we move faster with these things? That's the first thing. The second thing is, it's going to potentially bring relief because what a price cap means is that there's no price regulation. That's the difference. At the moment, the government sets the price. They say you will sell petrol for 25 Rand or 24 Rand a litre, and that can't vary except for maybe an inland versus the coast. And they
Which is kind of crazy because what other products in the world do we let government decide the value of? It shouldn't really be up to them. You should be able to get petrol cheaper at some places and other places can charge more because they have more traffic maybe.
Well, I think when it comes to most products in the world, the market should drive the price. General economics tells you that demand and supply drives the price. Yeah. And only if you get into a monopolistic situation, so if there's only one business that sets the price, then government should step in because you could have overpricing or price taking.
Yeah, you get price gouging and all that stuff. I agree. I just think this is not a government we would trust with very much, considering how badly they've managed so many other things. So I'm starting to look at everything they do and going, well, why are they the ones who are deciding on this? So, all right, with 93 being capped, does that mean that is the upper limit for how much it's going to cost?
Yes, it does mean it's the upper limit, but there's another thing at play, and that is because they're setting a cap, it means that there's no low point. So that's the actual objective. So you can discount the price of petrol as much as you like as a fuel retailer. So that's effectively what a cap means. It's good. Now, don't focus on the cap. Focus on, well, you don't have to, put the price up to that cap. It just means there's a cap. So fuel retailers only make, and I think herein lies the rub, only make R2.28 per litre.
Yeah, and that's a small margin if you consider how difficult it is to run a fuel station. You have to be open 24 hours a day. You've got to employ people. Security's an issue. People don't pay. They drive off after filling their cars. You have to open a shop so you can make ends meet. It's tough to run a fuel station. That's why I found it really stupid and ridiculous that Joe Biden the other day was blaming the fuel prices on the petrol stations, the individual gas station owners in America. I was like, what the hell's wrong with you, old man? You really have lost your mind. They don't make that much money.
No, R2.28 on, R2.50, R2.60 a litre, depending on which octane and region you're in. So R2.28 per litre, which is under 10% margin. You have to pump hundreds of thousands of litres in order to really cover the costs of that filling station. So what is the effect, or the net effect of this? Yes, some retailers that pump high volumes might just discount it down to fuel, down to almost zero margin. And the reason they
Right.
might do that is because the shop makes a lot more margin than the fuel does.
Right.
And all garages have shops, right?
Okay.
When you're missing bread at 10 o'clock at night and you need to
Sure.
go and have a sandwich, you go
So
down to the filling station.
in the end, this might be very good news for consumers. It might result in a couple of savings here and there.
It might, but there's a bigger problem, and that it might also translate into job losses. Because can you imagine now if you say, all right, I'm going to make no money on fuel, so I'm going to discount the whole R2.28 in order to get you into my shop, but I'm also not going to have petrol attendants. You're going to have to fill up your car yourself.
Mm. I just don't know if South Africans are like responsible enough. We'll probably spill petrol all over the floor and then light it and
More
catch
than
fire
likely.
and blow the whole place up. So I don't know if they want that to happen.
No, I mean, I agree with that, but it's quite possible that fuel retailers could get creative in order
Yeah,
to
sure.
reduce the
All
fuel.
right.
So that's good thing in some ways. I think good thing in most ways that there's no regulation, like you pointed out earlier on. There could be some downsides, but at the end of the day, it's not going to halve your petrol bill. It's not going to come down to 11 Rand a litre again.
George, you're the only one who we can take seriously on these subjects. We'd never know with other people. Might be bullshitting us. What else have you got?
Exactly. So a couple of other light-hearted things. The one is, did you know that in America there is a secret card that you can be a member of, or an organization you can be a member of, that gets you out of law-breaking activity? So listen to this.
What?
It's called a PBA courtesy card. Fully legal, right? PBA courtesy card. It stands for Police Benevolent Association. Nearly every police officer carries one of these cards in the United States. And typically the card follows with the words, the bearer of this card is a supporter of the PBA and you should try to extend every courtesy possible. It doesn't mean that you're going to get out of what you've just got yourself into. But what happens is the police officer comes to your car and says, license and registration, please. I mean, you've seen that in the movies. That's real. And what the person holding the PBA card does is he pulls out his license and registration card and with it, the PBA card, and he hands it to the police officer. So there's no words exchanged. And the police officer knows that this individual is part of the PBA organization, which he is also a part of.
I like this, but we already have that in this country. It's like if you know a politician, it's the same thing, right?
Or if you have a couple of blue notes that you hand over.
That's true. Yes, good point. Correct. Not that we're endorsing that kind of behavior, George. You and I are very careful not to be associated with that sort of thing.
Absolutely not.
But yes, it does happen. We've got to be realistic about it. Sure.
Yes, we have to be realistic about it. It does happen. And then very, very lastly, what do you do if you need to pee while driving? Gareth, have you ever needed to pee so badly?
Well, I mean, luckily, usually you're in town, so you can always pull into a petrol station and use their toilets. Or maybe you're on a distant rural road. You just pull over to the side of the road and you can pee there if you have to. You just hope that not too many cars drive past you and hoot at you. But yeah, I mean, exactly. It happens. I've seen people just peeing on the side of the highway in town. So it's easy for a guy. It's much more difficult for a woman.
Welcome to South Africa. So I think the one of the things that you shouldn't do is let your assets be exposed when you're peeing. I see so much of that. It's so disrespectful to everybody else. It's the most irritating thing for me. But a couple of other things you can do. I've got some light-hearted ones, and then I've got a serious one. The one is wear an adult diaper.
Oh my God, not a chance. I would rather be humiliated publicly and have everybody hooting at me and stopping and giving me hand signals and all kinds of things than pee in an adult diaper. I think that's so demeaning and undignified.
I absolutely agree. The other is you can pee in a Ziploc bag. Apparently, a very large Ziploc bag is quite effective.
Dude, all right, I'm going to try and take this seriously. What else?
Okay, and then the very serious one. If you really, really, I keep one of these in my airplane. Okay, because when you're in the sky, and there's nowhere to go. I've never used it, but when you're
Okay.
in the sky and there's nowhere to go, you got to go. You got to go. There is a
Sure.
product online in South Africa called Got to We. So the word got, the number two, and WEE, the word we. Got to We. Go Google it. I promise you, it is a real thing.
Okay. And what does it look like? How does it work?
Well, it's like a little, almost like a pad, and it's got an absorbent material like a nappy, and all you do is you put this over your pee area, and you pee into it, and it sucks all of the pee into the Got to We device.
You hope so. You hope so. You hope you don't have spillage. All right. Well, you taught me something, George. I didn't know about these things. So every day is a learning day on this show, and especially on Fridays when we have you on. All right. Thank you very much, George Mienie. That is all we've got time for this morning. CliffCentral.com wrapping up this Friday. Hope you have a good weekend. And thank you, Borge, says Sanele. Of course. What would we do without Borge on a Friday? And we will be back on Monday morning, 6 a.m., bright and early. Big thank you to all of our guests and to you for joining us today. Like and subscribe, please, before we go. Otherwise, it doesn't count. Nobody cares then. Got to like and subscribe. And don't miss George's show on Monday, the AutoTrader podcast. They've always got interesting stuff. If you like what he said today, that's just like a taste of what they do on their full show every week. Make sure you don't miss it. Cheers, everybody.